Hey guys, this is the Real Quaid with another Poison Gym Challenge video. This time I'm up against Hadn, who has a very unusual team to say the least. The one thing that I noticed right off the bat is that Nidoking outspeeds and probably will one-shot a majority of his Pokemon, so I get a little cocky early on in the video. I decide to just lead with my Nidoking, which I usually don't do. I want to protect him as much as possible and usually just clean up whatever he's got left with him after all of his speed has gone. But I get a little aggressive here and just go for Nidoking right off the bat. So he sends out his Togekiss. Togekiss has got a pretty high special defense, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to one-shot it. Manages to survive with about a third of its health left. He goes for a Sweet Kiss to confuse me, but I know I got a 50-50 shot at being able to finish him off. I don't want any weird flinch hacks or para hacks or whatever he's going to get here, so I'm going to come right at him. Manages to hurt itself in confusion, and he knows how important Nidoking is to my success, so he's going to come right at him. He's not going to mess around. Also, Nidoking is immune to Thunder Wave since he's part ground, so not much he can do about that. I'm able to snap out of my confusion, luckily, after just one turn, finish him off with a Thunderbolt. I decided to switch attacks since both Thunderbolt and Ice Beam do the same damage to Togekiss, and if he was expecting a switch and send out Politoed or something like that, it's a safer play. So he sends out his Cofagrigus here. I had heard things about the Trick Room and red card that he has. I'd never faced it before, but I kind of knew what to expect, so I come right at him with a powerful Earth Power. Doesn't manage to finish him, but he does set up the Trick Room. At this point, I'm not afraid of what he's going to attack me with. I don't think he's got enough power to knock out Nidoking. So he does withdraw him and send out his Swilius, whatever that thing is. And this is another one I've heard. He's got a Hustle one that just wrecks the place with his high attack and gives it an EVLA to survive. But Nidoking doesn't mind. He's going to hit him really hard. Even if I had predicted and used an Ice Beam, I don't think I would have finished him, so I don't necessarily mind that. I know this guy's got a lot of power. I'm not going to risk my Nidoking. Drapion doesn't do much to his team, so I'm pretty much offering up Drapion to Xvilius here as bait to lure him into an outrage. He crunches me and crits me. I was wondering why I did so much damage, but because of the crit. So he does use the outrage. Drapion's going to fall. Like I said, that's as designed, because my goal here is to knock out this guy with losing as few Pokemon as I can. So also, I sent out, it was basically a bait to be able to send out Muck on a free turn, thinking there's no way he's slower than Muck, but he is, which really surprised me. Muck is pretty slow, but apparently he's faster than Xvilius here, so I go for the Brick Break, which is going to hit him super effective. Doesn't manage to finish him off, does decent damage, but I make a pretty critical error here. I see that the Trick Room has ended, so I'm expecting a switch, not realizing the fact that he's actually locked into Outrage. I would have been able to finish him off easily with a Brick Break, but I expected a switch and went for the Poison Jab, even though I didn't realize that he couldn't switch, so I basically just lost my Muck when I didn't really need to. So my Nidoking is kind of in a bad state right now. I lost my Muck to a stupid mistake. I'm getting way overconfident about the way things are going to turn out. So I send out Nidoking. Again, I don't fear anything if he does switch. There's no reason to use Ice Beam at this point. I'm just going to use my most powerful attack if he does switch into something just to hit it really hard. So Swilius goes down. Nidoking, again, I'm feeling super confident. He sends out his Breloom. I don't care. I know I'm going to outspeed him. Didn't think about a Technician Breloom with Mach Punch for whatever reason, so I actually ended up losing my Nidoking here, which was a pretty critical mistake. I see he's got a Life Orb, though, which I thought, which is good for me, because he doesn't have a Focus Sash. Crobat doesn't fear anything right now. I could taunt him for a Spore, but at this point I'm just going to come right at him. I don't care. If your opponent has a Breloom that's out and you can attack him and finish him off in one shot, you might as well do it, just because he's got huge attack and Spore is one of the most threatening moves in the game, so I'm not going to mess around. I just finish off his Breloom in one shot. He sends out his Politoed. I have no idea what kind of set this is. I'm figuring it's some kind of weird support set. I don't want him to set up Perish Song or do anything weird, so I just come right at him with a taunt. I wasn't really fearing. I figured my Crobat was bulky enough to take whatever he's got. So he's going to hit me with a Scald that is powered up by the rain, and it actually Manages to knock out my Crobat, which I really didn't expect. I thought for sure he'd survive at least one attack from Politoed, but he goes down. So I'm kind of, what can I do? I sent out my Zoroark finally, disguised as Toxicroak. I got 2 Pokemon left. It's either send out Zoroark as Toxicroak, or send out regular Toxicroak, and then my Zoroark will not have a disguise. So I make what I consider to be the safer play, send out Zoroark. Manages to Night Daze finish off Cofagrigus here pretty easily. So I'm feeling a little bit better about myself. I know Zoroark's going to do big damage to anybody he's got left. I forgot he had Machamp left. Machamp's going to resist Night Daze. At this point, I know my Toxicroak is the key to victory in whatever we've got left, so I'm going to sacrifice him, do what damage I can. Manages to lower his accuracy. Doesn't matter because he's got no guard, so he's going to hit me anyway. Zoroark's going to fall without question on this one. So I'm left with a Toxicroak, and thankfully his Politoed is probably the MVP of this game for me, just because I knew my Toxicroak does not fear Politoed at all. And actually, because of the rain, I'm put in a pretty good position to basically just sub up here. And I am fully committed at this point to basically stalling out his Dynamic Punch, because thanks to the rain, I'm only losing 1/16 of my health each turn. And I'm actually counting the PP at this point. I know he's used Dynamic Punch twice. I am fully committed that if it comes to it, I will use Substitute 8 turns in a row until he runs out of Dynamic Punches. It doesn't come to that. He just straight pulls him back and brings out his Politoed once again, which is going to allow me to set up the sub. So I've now got he's got 2 Pokemon left. Toxicroak's got a sub up in the rain, which is awesome, because he's going to be healing up stuff. I'm not fearing anything at this point, so I'm just going to go for the Focus Punch, expecting to one-shot Politoed just because of its raw power. And he uses Perish Song, so I'm like, oh god. So we now have a timer on this battle. If I don't beat him in 3 turns, then it's over. So I go for the Focus Punch. As expected, it does enormous damage, but just my luck, he manages to survive with just a sliver. It's almost Focus Sash-like how much health he has left. So I can't mess around at this point. I have to finish him. I can't risk. I'm just going to use Ice Punch. I don't care. I'm not going to risk Sucker Punch. I'm not going to risk Focus Punch. I just have to finish him off here. So my Perish count is now down to 2. He's left with his lone Machamp. I'm actually feeling pretty confident. Seeing how much it did to Politoed, I'm pretty sure I can finish him here. I've got the sub up, so I know I'm going to hit him at least once. He's going to do great damage to Machamp. Machamp's going to break the sub, which is unfortunate, but there's nothing I can really do about it. So Toxicroak's going to come in with a Focus Punch here, and it actually is enough to finish the battle. So if it did come down to it, I would have been able to outspeed him and hit him with an Ice Punch for a little more damage. Luckily, it didn't come down to it. So great game to Hadn here. Like I said, I made a couple mistakes, things that I would like to have back for next time, but you live and learn. I know he knows some things about my team now and the trickiness that I have, so hopefully next time I won't be so reckless with my Nidoking. I'll actually take care of him like I need to in order to actually be successful. So great game, and I'll see you all next time.